Because the toilet paper looks like bones.
Yeah. Do them
All right,
look
guys.
like
Let's
bones.
go ahead and get going. Go ahead and mute yourself again and have that presentation open. We're just going to talk about these notes. There's 6 slides. I don't think they'll take us too long to go through, and then you'll have a review Google form to answer. I think there's 10 questions on there, and that'll be math for the day. So absolute value is something that we don't use too often, but it is an important concept. So I'm zoomed in just a little too far.
5 questions.
We're going to stick with this. So absolute value. If you have a number line, the absolute value is the distance that a number is on the number line from 0. So if you have the absolute value of -6 right here, it's 6 spaces from 0, so the absolute value is 6. If you have the absolute value of a +6, that is still 6 spaces from 0, so your absolute value is 6. So essentially all you're doing is looking at your absolute values, which will look like this. It's 2 straight lines around a number, and that just means take the absolute value of the number, and all it does is change the number positive. If it's already positive, your number stays positive. If your number is negative, it takes the opposite and goes positive. So this one, the absolute value of 7 stays positive, and you just get 7 because it's 7 spaces away from 0 on a number line. For the next one, -7, so the absolute value of -7, you just make it positive, and the absolute value is a +7 because it is 7 spaces away from 0. It's
Oh,
always
so
a
that's all you
positive.
have to do?
Basically, yeah. Basically, all you're doing is making the number positive. And if it's positive already, it just stays positive. So the key here is this this bottom part right here, where it says the answer to an absolute value problem is always a positive number. Because when you talk about the distance something is from 0, you're always just going to count a positive number. It's positive. Distance is positive, basically. So if we look at a few of our, we're going to go to slide number 3 and just do a couple of problems together. Okay. So we have, you can, sorry, say that again. I didn't hear you.
I just finished doing all of the questions on 3.
Yeah, we're gonna do them all together. So you can click into it and click where you need to be. You might have to double click a few times. This one is the absolute value of -4. What do you guys think the answer is going to be here? If all we do is take the positive of the number. All we do is make it positive.
Wait, but what if it's a fraction though?
Then it just goes positive. It's just a positive number.
So it'll just be the same then?
Mm-hmm. So this first one, the absolute value of -4, basically you get rid of the absolute value lines, and that -4 becomes what?
A 4.
+4.
Good, a +4. It's just 4. It's 4 spaces away from 0 on the number line. Okay. If we look at number 2, this time we have the absolute value of 125. Take away the absolute value signs. So take away your straight lines. What happens to 125?
It stays the same.
Good, it stays the same, and it's still a positive 125. So it's 125 spaces away from 0. It would take a long time to count that, but we don't need to do the counting, we just know. Okay. So essentially you're just changing your numbers to positive. So our next one, we have -2500. So we have a decimal here. It doesn't change your answer or anything. You just make it a positive number. So this is a -2500. If I take the absolute value, what does it become?
Positive.
Good. A positive 2500 instead. Okay, so just because it's a decimal doesn't mean it changes anything. You just need to make it a positive or keep it a positive. So for the case of number 4, where we have a positive fraction, so this is absolute value of 3/4, does it stay positive?
Yeah.
Yep. Your absolute value here is just 3/4. It's 3/4 of a distance away from 0. Okay? How are we doing? Does this make a little bit of sense? All you're doing is taking some positive numbers here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense.
Good. I'm glad. Oh, good. I wasn't checking the chat. Sorry, I can't see the chat very well when I'm on here. So if you're answering in the chat, awesome. I just didn't see it until now. Sorry. Okay. Where's my thing? There it is. Let's look at our next slide. So we just did slide number 3. We got our answers there. Slide number 4. A lot of what we're going to do this week is going to be comparing numbers, so whether they're greater than, less than, or equal to, and putting them in order from things like least to greatest or greatest to least. That's the main part of our standard this week. So let's just review the symbols real quick. When something is greater than it, the number will go, the number that's bigger goes before, so it's like the open part. I'm pretty sure you guys learned it like in 3rd and 4th grade as
And
like,
first,
yeah,
like
as
the
like
alligator sign.
exactly, the alligator eats the bigger number, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could
Wait,
think
is
of it
the
as
test
that way.
for a grade? Is the test for a grade?
The review,
No, they're not this. The test we're gonna take today.
no, it's just for me to check that you are
Oh,
getting
okay.
it. Yeah. So the greater than symbol, the open part points to the bigger number, right? The alligator eats the bigger number. And then the less than is just the opposite direction. The arrow points towards the number that's less than. And then we all know what equal to stands for, right? They mean the same number. Okay? And then just as a reminder, if you're looking at a number line, so the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, negative 1, 2, 3, you got a number line in front of you. Just keep in mind that as you move left on the number line, you get more negative. Your numbers are getting smaller. But as you go right and you go more and more positive, your numbers are getting bigger. Okay? So just keep that in mind as we're comparing things this week. Okay? How are we doing so far? Good?
Yeah.
Okay, we're looking good. All right. Good.
Yep.
Let's do a little bit of practice together with comparing here. So what we're going to do is take the absolute value of these numbers for number 1 and decide which symbol needs to go on that line. So I'm going to kind of type a little bit to the side, a little bit. If we're looking at the absolute value of -5, what does the absolute value of -5 become?
0.
It becomes a +5, right? You just make it a positive number. And then we have our line here. And now we need to take the absolute value of 7. How do I take the absolute value of 7? What does it become?
A -7.
Don't overthink this one. Remember, your answer is always positive.
7.
7?
Yeah. All you do is just make it a 7. Just take away your absolute value signs. Your answer is
So
always
7's bigger than.
good. And yeah, now we need to put the correct symbol. Is 5 less than, greater than, or equal to 7? What do you guys think? Is 5 less than, greater than, or
Less
equal
than.
to?
It's greater than.
If I do greater than, it's going to look like this.
No, I meant the 7. I meant the
Less
7.
than.
Greater than.
Okay, so the way that we would read this is 5 is less than 7. Okay. So 5 is less than 7.
The next one's easy. All it is like.
Yeah, the next one's not too difficult. So let's look at our next one here. We need to take our absolute values first. What is the absolute value of -1/2?
Positive.
Positive 1/2. Good. So we have our positive 1/2. 1 divided by 2. Then we need to, there's our line for our, where we're going to put our symbol. Now we need to take the absolute value of positive 1/2. What does it become?
A negative? Negative.
Remember, your answer is always going to be positive.
It
for
stays
absolute
the
value.
same, which
Yeah.
makes it equal to.
Good. It's just going to stay the same.
I wrote in the boxes, like in the line right next to the ones.
That's fine. Okay, my thing isn't turning into a fraction when I type it, but that's all right. So just keep in mind that when you take the absolute value, even if it is already positive, it just stays positive. You don't have to change anything. You just get rid of the absolute value signs. So now we have 1/2 is less than, greater than, or equal to 1/2.
Equal to.
Equal to. Good. Good, good, good. I think you guys are doing pretty well with this one so far. So there's number 2. And now finally, number 3. This one we have some decimals. We're going to compare some decimals here. First, we need to take the absolute value of these numbers. What is the absolute value of 8.5? 8 5/10?
8.5. Positive.
Good. Positive 8.5. Not 85. 8.5. There we go. And there's our line right there. Okay, so we have a positive 8.5. Now we need to take our absolute value of positive 3.5. What's the absolute value of 3.5?
3.3.
You mean 3.3?
Positive.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, not 3.5. 3.3. Good. And I heard it a few times. It is a positive 3 3/10. So both of these were already positive, so they just stay positive. And now we need to decide what goes in the middle. 8.5 is greater than, less than, or equal to 3.5.
Greater than.
Greater than. Oh, that's a question mark. Greater than. Good. So does this slide make sense, what we were doing? Taking our absolute values
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
comparing. All right, so I'm going to give you guys on slide number 6, you're doing this one on your own. Let's take about 3 minutes. So it's 10:17. Let's take until about 10:20. Do these 3 problems on your own, and then we'll review them. Okay? You might already be done. So if you're done, just sit tight. But work on these 3 on your own, please.
They were easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go get a drink of water.
Go for it.
I know how to turn it into fractions. Real fraction.
Say it again, Charlie.
I know how to turn it into a real fraction.
Into
Like the
a
ones on
fraction?
the test. Yeah. Like the ones on
You-
number 3.
Number 3, you don't need to change any fractions, though.
I know how to turn it into a fraction like those.
Oh, you mean like instead of 2/3, it turns into a
Yeah.
fraction? Oh. Yeah, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't on my computer. But
Wanna
it's
know
fine.
how?
You just hit
Figure it
spacebar.
out? That's
Don't
not
you
how
just
I
hit?
did it. I just like put like shift plus
Okay.
and it'll work.
Maybe it works on the Chromebook. I don't know. My computer at home is not a Chromebook, so. All right,
I
you
have
guys
this computer and another computer. It's like the gray ones at school.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Dell ones.
Yeah, mine at home is a Lenovo. I think it's a type of HP. I don't know for sure. All right, we'll go about 1 more minute and then we'll review. And then I'll let you guys know what your assignment is and let you go. Nice and quick math lesson today.
Those are the kind of lessons I like.
Same here, because I'm going to eat food after this. I'm hungry.
Hungry?
Mm-hmm. I am hungry.
Are you sure you're not hangry?
I'm not angry just yet. It takes a little bit longer for me to get hangry.
I'm hangry.
Yeah.
All right, well then let's go over these so that you guys that are hangry can eat food. So let's look at number 1. We need to take our absolute values first. What is the absolute value of 2?
Positive.
2 point.
Good.
I just
Good.
get 2.
It is a positive 2. Then we need to take the absolute value of negative 5/10. What does that become?
Positive. 0.
Positive 5/10.
Positive 5/10. Now,
And 2 is bigger because it's not even a 1 yet.
good. 2 is bigger because we need to look at the. You can also write this as a 2.0, right? And then you start looking at the ones place first. Is 2 is greater than 0, so we know that 2 is greater than 1/2, 0.5. All right. Number 2, we have the absolute value of 4.5. What is the absolute value of positive 4.5?
Positive 4.5.
Yeah.
Good. It is still just 4.5. Then we need to take the absolute value of a positive 5. What does that become?
Just 5, but it's positive.
Yeah.
Just 5. It stays positive. Now, it's 4.5 greater
It's
than,
smaller.
less than. It is smaller. So less than.
I think these are fun.
Yeah, they're pretty quick too, huh?
Yeah.
All right, and then we've got one last problem here. We need to take the absolute value
like about
of
this
negative
is that we have to
2/3.
rewrite it.
What was that, Charlie?
The only part I don't like about this is that we have to rewrite it.
Yes, you do have to rewrite it. Sorry.
Oh, I was just writing in the little empty spaces right there.
Yeah, that's fine too. All right, what's the absolute value of negative 2/3?
Positive 2/3.
Yeah, just
Positive
positive.
2/3. Good. And we need to take the absolute value of 2/3 again.
It's positive.
Miss
Again.
Jones, what if on the fraction stuff like that? What if it had two equivalent fractions? Would they still be equal?
They would, yeah. So if this was a negative as well, right here. Yeah. So if you were to take.
I mean like if you had 1/2 or like just fractions that are equivalent. Like I don't know.
Oh, like if you were to simplify one.
Yeah, or like just find one that
Right.
it like have the same. Like 1/2. Let's say you had 1/2 and then you had like 6/12. Like would those still be equal?
They would, because if you simplified 6/12, you would still get 1/2.
Yeah, because I was just wondering that.
Yep. As long as you simplify and they're equal, you are good. So is 2/3 greater than, less than, or equal to 2/3?
Equal.
Equal. Good. All right. There's our notes for the day. You guys can turn these in when you're done so that I know you are working on them with me. And let me show you guys your assignment for the day and I'll let you go. So you, on Google Classroom, if you're looking at my screen, this also posted earlier, have an absolute value review. It's a Google form. I think there's 10 questions. I don't think it'll take you very long. You're just taking the absolute value of 10 different numbers. And there's one real life one, see how well you do on that one. But 10 questions, that is your assignment. You guys have technically about a half hour left of math. So I'd like to see you guys finish this in the next half hour.
What does the 1 minus 41 mean?
1 minus 41?